Hello and welcome to Jumble Lane. Today we're going to start playing with turntables, and what we're going to do is going to cover the point that we all have problems with, is that the dead point halfway through its turn. With turntables, having them turn throughout 360 degrees, if a loco comes on from one side and has to turn around and goes to the other side, the tracks will be in the opposite positions, and this inevitably causes problems with polarity of the track. Again, we're touching on the subject of DCC, where you say, well, there isn't a polarity really because it's AC. Well, that is true in one respect, but we talk about the inside rail and the outside rail as the way we look at it from wherever we're standing on in the layout. And from the turntable as you see it now, you've got the head end and the tail end. The head end is to the left and the tail end is where the control box is on the right. And if you look at it now, then the closest rail you could say would be the red rail, and the furthest rail would be the black rail. Now if you turn that around to go on to track number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is the centre of the right tracks, where the Phoenix is, the Euro Phoenix is at the moment, waiting to come on onto the turntable, then that turntable has to turn throughout 180 degrees roughly. So the rail would be in the opposite direction. Now how these turntables deal with that situation is, throughout its movement there will be a dead area, like a no-go area, and this is on this turntable is approximately in the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock position, so that's like in the upright position, which is 90 degrees from where it is now. What the turntable does, when it turns around, it swaps the connections. So what was the inside rail now becomes the outside rail, and then it swaps the connections, so the rails stay as they were. So when you go onto you come off the turntable onto your layout and continue on the journey, then there will be no short. Now, if you've got a loco that doesn't have lights and doesn't have sound, there is no problem whatsoever. When you have a loco with lights or sound or both, then what happens is the lights go out and the sound stops. And like many locos, they're quite unique in their sounds and quite realistic. So you get the startup sequence. Also, you won't get movement until the startup sequence in the sound has been completed. So you get round to where you want to come off the turntable has finished turning, but what happens is your loco won't move until it's actually fired up. Now in real life you don't get that. The loco is always running, and as soon as it's in position it's ready to go. So I'll demonstrate the point where you get the dead spot and noticeable, and then I'm going to show you a trick when you're videoing or when you want to run and play with your layout, how you can overcome this by a couple of moves with the turntable before you actually go onto the turntable with the loco. So we have the Euro Phoenix waiting to come on, and what I'll do is I'll select track 8 on the turntable, and that will now turn around with the head end of the turntable onto track 8. It's just passing the no man's land there, and you can't see what is happening with that. but inside its mechanism it actually swaps the polarity of the track. So if we start to bring Euro Phoenix on board, what we'll do now, we'll go on to position number 3, which is the track that goes out onto the layout. And you will see quite visibly, as it's pointing towards you, the lights go out and the sound will stop. So as you've seen, if you're like a bit of a purist or you like to have things just about right, then turntables don't seem on the face of it or what they've made up to be. But you can, with a bit of forethought, change this, and you can make it work really, really well. Now I'll try and explain this first. You've got the head end and the tail end, and in this case we're on track number 3, which is a track which goes out to the layout, and our Euro Phoenix is on number 8. If I went to number 8, the head end will go on to number 8, and when the Euro Phoenix loads onto the turntable, you will see that when it goes round to number 3 to leave the turntable onto the layout, the lights went out and the sound had to restart. So how do we really get rid of this situation? Well, on this particular turntable, which is the Avenger turntable, the same as the Walters turntable, you have the facility to run it 180 degrees. What I mean by that is, now if we selected track 8, which is where it is now over here, we can get it to turn throughout 180 degrees and put the tail end, which is this end, onto number 3. So all we have to do is select the same track or the same position, and it will travel through its 180 degrees. What we do then, we load the loco on to the tail end, and then we select the track that it wants to go out on, which is number 3. So when you select number 3, it actually goes from the head end to position number 3, and in fact if you look at that, that is almost dead horizontal. Number 3 is just a few degrees a little bit more clockwise than what it is now, so its transition from one position to another is very little. So what we'll do, we'll start up Euro Phoenix and we'll bring him onto the turntable, and then we'll move him to track 3, So Euro Phoenix is now trundling off onto the layout, doing its duties around the layout. So when Euro Phoenix wants to come back onto the turntable and back in to refuel or get looked after in the yard, what we're going to do about the turning round, because the turntable is now in the opposite direction, we'll quite simply, at an opportune moment, we'll turn the turntable around 180 degrees. Bringing the tail end to position 3, so that when Euro Phoenix comes back, we'll be able to just climb on and wait in the middle. And it doesn't really matter which position we're coming from, and I'll just demonstrate that with the DRS68. It will be a bit loud in the background. What I will do is I will now turn the turntable around 180 degrees. And this way the Avenger will now come onto the turntable, onto the tail end. You're going to be quite excited here, only just about stopped. And off he goes. While he's doing his duties, I'll just turn this round 180 degrees, because there may be another loco that's on the layout that wants to come back into the yard and be serviced. Well, thank you for watching. I hope that this helps with the smoother running of anybody's turntable. It's just a simple idea that you pre-select the position as a tail end so that your locos enter the tail end so they don't have to go through the dead man spot. One thing I'd like to point out before I do finish is that on my particular layout I've got position number 3, position number 4 and position number 5. This is going to be for a shunter and probably a class 20 there. If you're going from these two positions, you won't need to go through the dead man spot because the turntable doesn't have to rotate throughout that area unless you want to turn the loco around. Now, whilst the diesels basically run one way or the other and don't make much difference unless you've only got one driver fitted in there, with steam engines the whole idea of a turntable is to turn the loco around. So it's all down to video editing, and you can then have to edit your videos where it cuts out the dead spot. So that's all I can help you with that. So happy modelling, happy playing, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.